Hello Multiverse, welcome to Omniverse Gamers. My name is Damian Bizzaio. This video is going to talk about session 0.5. This is a follow-up to my session 0 video. This is what I like to do after session 0. I like to run what I call a session 0.5. And what I define that as basically it's like a generic mini session where it's kind of like a one-shot. It could possibly be like a campaign prequel for the campaign you're just in session 0 for. It's basically a little mini session that's immediately following the session 0. On the same night, after everyone's gets done making their characters, and you finish hashing out all the things that you wanted to get done in session 0. You know, you got your foundation, you got your parameters, you got all your things. Now you're just going to kind of play a little bit with the characters you just made. This is not a session 1. For me, session 1 is the official beginning of your campaign. When the DM kind of has time to do all the things from session 0, he has all the information. He has time to now develop and run the game based on that information in session 0. That'll be the next sessions. That'll be session 1 when you actually start your campaign. Session 0 is not that. Session 0 is it can either be part of the campaign or it can just be like a little practice thing. It's basically a generic practice run where players get to test out their characters in combat, you know, in random social interactions with just random NPCs that I throw at them, and the relationships with each other. They can kind of start to build little relationships that can be lasting into the actual session 1. Sometimes they're just isolated and we just forget about it. You know what I mean? It's basically a mostly railroaded generic setup. You know, you're not, because the DM, I literally, sometimes I don't have anything prepared for session 0. I mean, I have a couple random encounters. So basically, as a DM, you basically prep a kind of like a railroaded little mini setup. You know, I like to use like the characters, the town they're going to start in, or the area that they're going to start in, maybe a town next nearby where they kind of happen to all be at one time. You know what I mean? Like, it's a great place for the classic you meet in a tavern trope. You know what I mean? I like that's a good one because, you know, you can just kind of, oh, you're all here for this reason. We're going to make a little thing happen, you know what I mean? Yeah, actually, I'm going to make a video about my Underdark twist on that. They're in this Underdark hot spring. It's basically a twist on the classic, you know, starting a tavern. But my 4 players after our session 0, so you can kind of look at, you can see that encounter video to see how I built that encounter. It's very generic. It's very, you know what I mean? But it also it gave the players a chance to be their characters, you know, just for fun, just for that night. Now sometimes if the DM has exchanged like some info with characters before session 0, you're kind of talking back and forth, so you kind of have a little bit of an idea what they're going to play. That can help, you know, kind of mold your session 0 a little bit. You can add whatever information you have, you can add to it. But you don't need any information for session 0. That's the point of it. It's a generic little encounter. Nobody expects it to be anything. You know, I just kind of, when they're talking and making their characters, as we're you know, hashing stuff out, going back and forth, I make little notes about their characters. I just kind of, you know, and random things that I can maybe add in. And then I have like maybe 3 or 4 generic encounters and like a location or 2 kind of ready to go. You know what I mean? Kind of in my head or in you know, mapped out or whatever. Just something minor, you know. And then I can just quickly, as we're doing session 0, over, you know, it takes a while for session 0, a couple hours, I can slowly kind of figure out which one I want to reskin and mold, and I can use that as our session 0.5. Now, it doesn't have to be great. I mean, the players, they know I'm making it up right there at the table. They don't, you know, they're not going to expect me to make a whole campaign in an hour, you know what I mean, while we're doing other stuff. This is just a, you know, it's just a practice run for everyone, for me and for them. It's just kind of a, you know, feel her out game. Because, like I said, people don't like to do session 0s because they're like, well, why meet and not play? Well, you're going to finish your session 0, you're going to get that solid, then you're going to play for a little bit, just for fun, you know, just for fun. It's a way to have the session 0 benefits, which I discussed in my other video, but also get to play D&D. And I don't really ever plan to keep the 0.5 sessions canon. You know, just like a little thing, we're going to do it, and then we're going to start the session next time. But I've done it, you know, probably a dozen times now, and I've never not kept the 0.5 session because they usually end up pretty good, even though they're kind of by the seat of your pants. Nobody expects anything much from it, and like everyone's, like, you do some minor tweaks and some minor, like, you know, retcons and stuff like that. But pretty much, you know, you just did session 0 for 2-3 hours. You know, you ate dinner, you're all happy, you're all just excited about your characters. So, like, the session 0.5 usually turns out really well. Like, I've never had a bad one. You know, I mean, it's just one of those people, everyone's, like, really pumped, everyone's psyched to play, and you only got a short time. It's a really simple thing. You know, it's just a good way to have the best of both worlds, you know what I mean? And make sure your campaign's going to last throughout the time, you know, because your session 0 is going to be solid. Now you're getting a little mini session. Now, the DM, after session 0.5, you play a little bit, he's seen how you fight combat-wise and how you guys interact. So now I would have more time, more information, more logistical tools when I designed session 1 and the rest of the campaign. I kind of had this 0.5 as a reference. It just comes out really great, really great. So yeah, this is my little short video on session 0.5. You know what I mean? Definitely do session 0s. Maybe if you have time, add a 0.5 in. It's really fun. It's simple. You know, like I said, watch my video on the encounter that I did. It's nothing great. it came out really good, and it was a complete railroad. Like, they already knew from our session 0 that we were going to start with them enslaved. They were going to start enslaved together. So at our session 0.5, they were all in this Underdark hot springs for various reasons, as you'll see. And even though they knew at the end they were going to lose. I was going to take them. I gave them enough agency, and we had a really fun battle, and I had to work to really kill them. I gave them the fight, you know what I mean? And they fought me back. And they kind of, even though they lost, they knew they were going to lose, they had a sense of accomplishment because it was fun. You know what I mean? So go check out that video, and definitely try to run a 0.5 sometime. It's super fun, super easy. We are Omniverse Gamers. Like, subscribe, and all that jazz. I hope to see you soon, and keep on gaming.